Hey everybody, as usual I was working on something and I have a new toy and I think it's going to help me fix my problem, so I figured I'd make a quick video. So I did a recap. This is a 20notEZ Sanyo monitor out of a Nintendo DK Junior, and I did there were some issues, you know, it had like partial collapse and some other crap going on with it, and so I recapped it with a cap kit that I had from Bob Roberts, and I powered it, you know, double checked all my work, reflowed solder, you know, did all the normal stuff, and I have good high voltage, good B+, but no video. And I've gone over this thing, you know, pretty thoroughly, checking my caps, checking my polarity, checking all the soldering and stuff like that, and I couldn't figure it out. So I've just got this recently. I have a different ESR meter that maybe I'll show in this video, but this one has these nice little tweezers. It's a EDS-88 version 2, I think, and it checks for DCR and ESR. So I think DC is DC resistance, and then electrical series resistance or equivalent series resistance or whatever. I don't know, something. I don't understand all the details, but anyway, you check for you can check this in circuit, and the DCR basically checks to see if a cap is shorted. So if you hold this together, it'll show that the cap is shorted. So anyway, I started poking around and basically rechecking all the caps I've already installed, kind of like this. Like this is C201. Hold on if I can get it. There we go. Kind of hard holding the camera here, but there we go. And so it'll tell you whether the cap is shorted, and then it'll tell you what the ESR is. It'll beep once for under 1 ohm of resistance for ESR, and then like twice up to 2 ohms, and 3 times for 3 ohms for, you know, and if it's really high, it'll beep like 5 or 6 times. So anyway, you just come in here and you kind of just start checking caps like this and listening for the beep, and so you know that that one's normal. And then I took my cap sheet from Bob Roberts and I just started going through and checking all the caps, and then I got to, I think, C411. C411 is a non-polarized cap right here. Let's test this one. And it's reading shorted. And so this is the first time that I've ever been able to use this thing, and I think we have a problem. I think that cap, there's something going on with that cap, so we're going to pull that one as well. And then I also found, let me see, I have a question mark. 471 is up here. Let's check this one. And it's kind of cool because you can do this in and it's reading 6 ohms ESR, and 471. Let's see here. Sorry for all the moving around here. 471 is a 10 volt, 160 volt, 10 microfarad, 10 microfarad, 160 volt cap, and the ESR on that should be less than 3, typically. 10, well, I guess it could be up to 7. So I mean, that cap is potentially like in the yellow zone here for where it says, you know, 10 microfarads. It's in the yellow range right here, so that cap might not be that great either. But so I think I summarized it pretty good. We had no video. I started using my new ESR meter that also checks not only ESR, but checks to see if the cap is shorted. And you basically set that setting here. Anything under 150 ohms is going to read as shorted. And that's typical. You know, you want to set it there for, you know, normal size caps. If you have a really large cap, you'll set it lower. If you have really small caps, you might want to set it higher, kind of thing. But just leave it right in the middle for the most part, I think, so far with my experience. And then I just went around, and that one jumped out at me like crazy, like the fact that it was shorted. So we might have a bad cap.
All right, so let me replace that cap.
Okay, so I'm continuing to test some, and I came across C408, and it was reading open, like I wasn't able to get a reading with the ESR there on it. So let's check 467, which is right here. And I can't get a reading either on 467. Nothing's beeping. And sorry I'm doing this. It's kind of a pain in the butt to do this with holding it with a hand, but whatever. Let's see here. Dang it. All right, whatever. I'll do it with putting the camera right like that. And you can see this. Nothing. I get no reading at it at all, which is kind of weird, right? I mean, that means this cap is probably bad. So we'll put this one to the side and read it with the other ESR, but that doesn't look good. Cap number 4. So this could have happened while I powered it up. Maybe it ruined the caps, or the caps were just bad to begin with. Which one was it? 467. 467, and we'll check C cap 610. All right, I pulled C610, which is also a 1 microfarad 160 volt cap, and you can see the ESR is over 20. Yeah, see, so we know, like, basically every single one of the 1 microfarad 160 volt caps are bad in this cap kit. So that's obviously not good news, but without this ESR meter I wouldn't be able to figure it out. So let me, I guess, yeah, I'll come back and we'll test these with my other ESR meter as well, just to get a different reading, and then we'll replace them and see if I actually have a good monitor now. Alright, this is kind of, hopefully I can explain this anyway. Alright, so I took out the capacitor 411 that was shorted, and then hopefully you can, let me tilt that a little bit like that. And when it's out of circuit, it tests fine. So the cap itself is not shorted, so that might have something to do with the circuit. I don't know. We're going to have to put that to the side. The other one was these 1 microfarad 160 volt caps. The standard ESR on something like this is probably, my cheat sheet is, it could be like 16 ohms or something, or 10 ohms or something like that. So the ESR on a 1 microfarad cap could be pretty high, but the fact that it's not registering anything is interesting. So I got some brand new ones, and it's also not registering anything. So, and I know these caps are good. Then I went and grabbed the ones from that I actually pulled off of the Sanyo 20EZ, and it's registering around 12. Let's see, let's do another one. 12 ESR. That one's around 8. See how, let me go back. And now it's at 15. Alright, 12, whatever. So it's better. So I figured what I'd do is, if hopefully you can see this, we'll put my other, this is the MESR 100. We're going to zero it out here. That's close to being 0.
Hopefully you can see that.
I think so, yeah. So let's put the new cap, the new 1 microfarad, 160 volt, and we get about 23 ohms. So what's interesting is, and it says it's good if it's less than 4.7 reference 25 volt cap. So obviously, to really know what the ESR of these, you have to go look up the specs for the manufacturer. This is a kind of nice Nissan or whatever. I don't even know how to pronounce that. That Japanese. These are usually good caps and stuff. It's 105 degrees. It's 1 microfarad, 250 volts, and you know, you could be somewhere in the 20 ESR range, which is kind of interesting, right? It seems like the ESR is higher for the higher voltage, low microfarad caps. Doesn't kind of make sense to me, but whatever. Let's put on the original cap. So you got 9, so it's lower ESR than the other one. Does lower always mean better? I think so. But maybe it doesn't. But the bottom line is these are not open, which is, I guess, good. 16 on the ones that came in the Bob Roberts kit. So I guess bottom line is that doesn't matter. So even though I thought I was on to something, I probably wasn't, is what it amounts to. So let me probably put this non-polarized cap back in and see what we get. I'm trying to think if there's something else I wanted to measure. There were definitely some bad caps, like this one here. It's 100 microfarad, 160 volt, and I just replaced them. But let's see if this. See, I get no reading on that, and if I hook it up to my ESR, and you can tell it almost looks like it was leaking stuff. I get no reading on my MESR either. So this cap is definitely, bad. The other thing you could do is check the capacitance for it. And normally you're not going to do all this work because you're just going to replace all the caps when you do a cap kit. But if you want to replace the capacitance or test it, and you can see how close it is, like this one. I mean, look what it's reading, something like nanofarads or something. It's like, it's crazy, right? Whereas a normal one, this is a 1 microfarad. Let's see what this reads. A 1,000 nanofarads, which would be a microfarad, right? So that's what you typically would see. So I know that cap was bad. So there was a lot of caps that weren't good, but this one I think was good. This is a 220 microfarad 16 volt cap. And so you get 210 microfarads there. And we can check the ESR just real quick. 0.1. So it's kind of odd to me. Now, granted, that's has higher microfarad, so it's kind of weird that a 1 microfarad 250 volt cap is going to have a higher ESR than a 25 volt cap, which doesn't make sense to me. But whatever. All right, that's it. So I grabbed another chassis that I know works, and I haven't recapped this one, so I figured I might as well pull it and do a test. So C411 is right here, and we're going to test that. Yeah, and so we get a low DSR reading on that. So I guess that's normal in circuit with that non-polar no polarity capacitor. So false alarm. I thought that might have been our problem, but it turns out I don't think any of the cap measurement I did indicated anything wrong, unfortunately. So got back to the drawing board on what's wrong with the other chassis. So I took my known working chassis, hooked it up to the tube that I was working on, and let's see what we get here. Actually, I already did this, so I know the result, but I figured I'd film it to wrap this video up. All right, we got our TPG off now. Let's see, turn it on, and we get nothing on the screen. But I know we have high voltage. See, I got static and stuff. So we got high voltage, and if I turn it off, sometimes you'll see it. Something happened there. Oh, well, nothing on the screen. I don't have TPG on. Turn TPG on. Okay. Still nothing on the screen. I could turn the flyback up and everything. Okay, you see something there when I turned it off, right? But nothing. So I started thinking about this. I'm like, this is the exact same symptom that I had when I put my freshly recapped chassis on there, that I don't think anything is wrong with it. It's sitting right there. So let's check the battery on the TPG. All right, I got the battery out of the TPG there, and we have less than 7 volts. I think the battery is the problem. So I spent probably hours working on that damn chassis, and it was because I wasn't getting a picture because my TPG probably didn't have enough juice. All right, let's put a new battery in it. Cross your fingers that this is it. Turn the TPG on. Do we get anything? What? I'm hooked up. Why am I not getting anything? This is a totally different chassis. Maybe the tube is messed up. There's something wrong with the tube. That's why I actually put it in on this tube. Shit. I was hoping that it was the battery. What the hell could be wrong with this tube now? I might have to hook up my TPG to my test monitor there and verify it's working. Alright, so my TPG is working. I got it hooked up to my test unit right there, so that's not the issue. So I'm wondering if I have a tube issue. And different chassis now with the same tube, so alright, so I figured I'd try one more time. Hooked it up, and anyway, so this you can tell that I did get this chassis to work. I just had to I turned up the flyback a little bit, and picture looks like crap. Obviously, this hasn't been recapped. I just centered all the pots, and I haven't restored the tube. So I'm thinking, and I tried that on my other tube, so I'm thinking that maybe the other tube has a bad flyback or something. So might have to do something. Okay, really quick. I put the chassis in that I recapped and checked all the caps on back on this tube with the new battery and the TPG, and let's see what we get. I guess there was, did I turn my TPG on? Turn the TPG on. Bam! We're good to go. I don't know what the heck, was it the TPG with the, because I did replace the battery, so it must have been the battery after all. And then I replaced the battery, put it on my, my test unit right there, and then I put in the other chassis, turned up the flyback, and it was working. Put my original problem chassis back in, and it's working. So replace the battery on your TPG, but we learned something about the EDS. Okay, because I always can't leave well enough alone. I put back the battery that was only 7 volts, and the TPG is working. So I don't know what was wrong with this chassis before. You know, it just wasn't working. Now it's magic, I guess. But I did pull out those capacitors and then put the same ones back in, so I really didn't change anything. I know on the video I didn't show it not working, but I did try to adjust the flyback and all that stuff. The only thing I can think of is maybe the sub brightness pot needed to be adjusted, but I don't know. Anyway, it wasn't the TPG, it wasn't the caps, and I spent probably 4 hours or something screwing with this damn thing. So, but it's working now. Sometimes that's the way it goes. All right, till next time.